Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We're talking to Alistair. The next question, I'm just going to, since we're running out of time, we need to, kind of force in all the possible questions and maybe future predictions as well, as we talked about. How did the international teams react to the venue? And of course the country in general. Of
course the venue is magnificent, splendid. And in fact, good question, Barney, because the minute they came to the ground, they were blown away. I promise you, I spoke to Malik, who was the Polish coach, and he just said wow, and it really was, it's breathtaking. And I'm not just saying that because hopefully they're watching. I'm saying it because it's genuine, and I think we'll never compete with Twickenham or the Emirates, but I think we're one of the finest, most beautiful stadiums in the world.
Okay. Wow. And how was the climate and the weather conditions?
Boiling for them, really hot. They didn't have enough water. We starved them of everything.
Do you think that
he's being sarcastic?
I'm only joking. No, the climate was terrible for the Polish. And in the Madagascar was
actually,
fine.
I was speaking to a player called Craig, and then
Greg, the prop forward, Scottish.
Yes.
Scottish, yeah.
With a lot Polish. Of tattoos down his arm, but he said that the weather was something that they were struggling with.
So you remember the tattoos very well, Amaya?
No.
Going back to the question.
No, the climate's always going to be tough.
Yes, of course.
It's going to be tough. But they did well. And you know what? The Poles, having been beaten twice and being the red-hot favourites, they were so humble in their defeat. They were so pleased to be here. Honestly, they were so pleased to be here. And we were just talking before about the after party. You had the Sri Lankan team and the Madagascans in the after party, led by Namal, who's the captain, and the boys were literally dancing to the African music. It was amazing. It was great fun. For a good half an hour, the three teams merged, and it was just brilliant. Honestly, for me, having set this tournament up, just that 20-minute moment spelt it all out for me.
Wow. And that's what it's all about, right? Building these connections across all these geographical
and that's what sportsmanship is all about, I guess. Game is a game, but there is something more to it, as Amaya rightfully pointed out. It's all about, if I could put it, it's a family.
It's camaraderie, isn't it? I mean, I've been a professional rugby player for many years, and some of the countries I went to and the people I met were fantastic, and without rugby I would never have done that. In fact, without rugby I wouldn't be sat here today. If you think about it, without, you know what I mean? So, as a career now, it's brought a lot to me, and I'm sure it's brought a lot to everybody else.
And there's a very interesting match I saw on the second day, the day that Poland were playing Madagascar, and that was the Sri Lankan women's rugby team. And I think we had to give a shout out to them as well, because the President's Seven, I think they're called, were amazing as well. I mean, I was watching them, and that's the first time I've seen a female team playing rugby.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry to say it was, but and that was a great step forward as well, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so
it was super game. And they are, like you said, they're hugely strong players. I mean, I've said from the beginning with this team at the Carlton Sevens, they are amazing. Really committed to everything, strong, fit as fiddles. It's just like I'm quite an incredible spectacle, to be perfectly honest. And of course they're now in India, in Pune for the second round of the Asian series. So they're doing really, really well, the Sri Lankan
And they came out as winners, if I'm not mistaken.
Of the plate, absolutely, they did. So we've sent our best photographer with them this time.
I see.
Yeah.
And
he's on
get
the
some
plane.
great pictures up on your website there.
Yeah, I think on our Facebook page, I think.
So and speaking about leadership as well, we have to speak about the role that the captain of the Sri Lanka team, Nama Rajapaksa, played. And I think he was actually, when you look at when he's playing on the field, he's right there. It's called the pack, right? He's right in the front of the pack.
He's right.
And he's the one who's take the brunt of the force. So let's talk about the role that he played in bringing the team together.
Well, I think we don't just say it, but from my point of view, there were 15 men out there, but it needed a leader. I think we got through that Poland game with a very, very strong leader, because if you think where we were at the beginning of the week when we got beaten by Madagascar, the heads were down, and it took somebody to get that team, because the transformation was enormous. I was worried.
Looked like a different team.
I was worried going into that Polish game. I was thinking, but a little thing struck to me after that Poland-Madagascar game. Our team was training literally at 9 o'clock after that game, straight after the match, and they were training and I just knew they wanted it. And Namal, I was speaking to him, and he was doing extra work, but he, in the limited coverage I've seen, so far. Namal played 18 minutes. He's not the fittest he's ever been. He'll admit that. But by God, he was right in the heart. And whatever phase he was in, he made a difference. But leaders win games.
Definitely.
You know, and I really felt they all followed him. And you've got to lead by example in life, you know, in sport. You lead by example, and you'll get a lot of energy from behind. And he did fantastic. Really did fantastic.
And then another star player for the Sri Lanka team was Riza Mubarak.
Yeah, good boy.
And
What
wow,
a boy.
Those were some amazing conversions and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to give a little shout out to him as well.
Massively. You've got to look back. You think about it. One missed kick, we'd have lost that game.
That's
and
true.
the kicks
We
he
won it by
took,
1 point.
the kicks he took were very difficult kicks.
Okay.
So, you know, and of course he won the most tries, you know, scored in the tournament, and you know, he was a great player. And I think he's one for the future as well. He's a young lad, and I think he can really benefit from what we're doing here in Sri Lanka.
And at 1 point could be the future of Sri Lanka. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And then when you speak about the challenges that you faced during the tournament, I'm sure there were kinks along the way, but what are the things that you're looking forward to fixing in the next Serendip Cup that's coming up and make it bigger and better?
Well, I think, like I say, it's been a week now, so I've done a lot of paperwork and administration that I hadn't done for some time. And this trip next week to Dublin, the IRB, if I believe and the union believe that this way forward, this Surrender Cup is the way forward, and I believe it is, along with the other bits and pieces, but this has got to be the thing that drives, because we need a business, a commercial business that draws in international revenues. You know, island-wide is great, but I think everybody's fishing in the same pond, and there's only so much you can give, so I think this international piece is a big piece. I'd like to start on that January. And I think the challenge is bringing 2 teams in was so tough. You know, it was tough visas and you name it. It was just tough, and accommodation, flights. Bringing 6 is going to be a huge task. But I've said, as long as everybody supports us and people
and the sponsors come up and everything falls into place, then it's definitely going to be a great
It needs to be a cash cow. So you need to generate a lot of revenue. I guess that's where you.
Well, the first one, this one we've just done, I've said. It was, as long as it wiped its face, as they say, you know. All I wanted to do was pitch it out there, get a good platform, do everything professionally. The IRB stamp gives it the credibility. As long as I could cover my costs, then I think, yes, 2 and 3, it will be this cash cow. Hong Kong do it. Hong Kong Sevens secure and support Hong Kong development all year, just that one tournament.
Oh, I see.
Now, you don't build Rome overnight, it takes time, but I think in the 2nd and 3rd year I can see this tournament contributing to 25% of the entire development costs.